Good morning, good morning, good morning. What's up? I'm just checking. Oh, I gotta fix that real quick. Hang on. There we go. Fixed. What's going on, everybody? Taco Tuesday, Texas Tuesday. It's Tuesday. And you know what that means? Absolutely nothing. You know, it means a lot. It does. It means that it's not Monday. We're past Sunday. It means that Wednesday is coming up tomorrow. What's up? Bunch of numbers person. Robin, what's going on? I catch you right before work. I hope that I'm an inspiration. I hope that you see me and you go to your job and think, I'm so inspired by that guy that talks on TikTok about politics, you know? I hope that's what's going on, Ronald. I hope that I inspire your day, Robin, with my commentary, my keen wit, my subtle humor. I hope so. Hey, Tino, what's up? Of course, he says. Of course you do, dude. This is Conservative Coffee Talk. I am a conservative. We're going to talk. It's going to be great. Robin's with us. She's awesome. There's lots of stuff going on. I am a conservative. This is Coffee, Conservative Talk, Conservative Coffee Talk. Coming at you pretty much every day now. Monday through Friday for sure. Weekends depending on the news cycle, but there's always been something going on that's crazy. Right, Ruben? Trump is definitely keeping it interesting, man. I'll tell you what. The guy never quits. It's inspiring to me to watch someone 79 years old just keep going. He gets about 3 hours of sleep a night. That's documented. For him, to him, sleeping in is 4 hours. I would be useless on 3 hours of sleep. I am useless. Hey, what's up, Tabor? How are you, man? Good to see you. I'm just talking about Trump's ability to function on no sleep. No sleep compared to most humans. Alexa, turn up. I was just mentioning that Trump gets about 3 hours of sleep a night, and I wouldn't be able to function on that at all. Excuse me, Alexa's being difficult. Hang on. Alexa, can you play classic rock? All right, there we go. Sorry, guys. Even Alexa is getting off to a slow start because she didn't get enough sleep. See? Trump, 3 hours of sleep? That's crazy. He's amazing for his age. I don't get it. I really don't get it. He just never stops. And I mean, like, he'll do a full day from like 5 in the morning until 2 in the morning, and then he'll be on the plane on Air Force One flying back to DC, and he'll tell the reporters, yeah, let's do an interview. Like, it's 2 o'clock in the morning. He's like, yeah, I don't care, I'm awake. Okay, we have questions. Yeah, woo, my goodness. I don't know, but here's the thing though. I don't know if that's a blessing or a curse. I mean, I will totally disagree with you. Well, I'm glad that you will, TW, bunch of numbers. I'm glad that you will totally disagree with me. Good for you. I'm glad that you will. Today is also today is World Chimpanzee Day. So today we honor our closest living relative in the animal kingdom, the chimpanzee. And I've been fortunate enough to work with some chimpanzees here in Las Vegas, and they're very nice people. So it's their day. Cheers to the chimpanzees around the planet. I'm glad that we're a part of the same family. Let's see here. I just realized you are a page says Patriots only, please, no problem. Oh, I'm glad there's a no problem. Patriots can be Democrats. Green Party. I mean, if you love your country, you're a patriot. I love my country during the Biden-Harris administration. I did not love the Biden-Harris administration, but I love my country. So that's how I see it. It's not a party. I love the country. I love the Constitution. I love what this country is able to do for its citizens. I'm a patriot to that, not to the people running it, to the country itself and to the Constitution, which the U.S. Constitution has set this country apart from other countries around the world since it was founded. Not many countries have the freedoms that we have. It's true. If you travel at all, and I've been fortunate enough to travel a lot worldwide, you'll see very quickly what what a large amount of freedoms that we enjoy here that other folks around the world don't enjoy. You'll see it pretty quickly. And I'm always very happy when I come back home to this great land of ours. TikTok's awesome. This is coming from TikTok. Encourage your viewers to share your live and invite more friends. So if you wouldn't mind, share my live and invite more friends. Atcha Simon, Atcha Emmons, what's up? How are you? I'm just getting started. You haven't missed anything yet. It's just been totally just kind of easing my way into the funk, easing my way into the day, getting started. We talked about the fact that everyone agrees that the fact that President Trump only sleeps 3 hours a night and has his whole adult life makes him a very strange person. Because I don't know how anyone can do that. I'm in Las Vegas. I'm in Southern Nevada. And I'm an entertainer, and I have a business, and all that stuff. There's no way. 3 hours of sleep, man, I'm useless. I'm like banging my head, So I don't know how but they keep pretty good records of what presidents do at the White House, where they are at all times, because it's the president, and they've charted this out, all the presidents that have been presidents in that building, and he sleeps the less of all of them. He very rarely, he sleeps very little. So I guess that's the way he lives. But man, I couldn't do it. I would be completely useless on 3 hours of sleep, day in and day out. I mean, there's been times in my life where I've had a couple of rough nights, but he's been doing this for 50 years, sleeping not sleeping like this. I'm like, man, I don't know how you do that. That's crazy. All right. Anyway, I mean, good for him. I mean, it's not crazy in a bad way. It's crazy in a good way. Some people just don't require a lot of sleep, I guess. And I don't require that much, but I need more than 3 hours, that's for sure. Man. So, I was watching today before I came on the chat. I've been trying to keep up with the news and following everything. There's so much to follow. It's impossible to know everything. No one does. Not even the folks you're watching or however you follow, however you get your news. They don't know everything because things are happening in real time all the time. Hey, the nurse is here. Good morning, nurse. I messaged you before I came on. Thank you so much. You messaged me this picture of a little podcaster, a little animated podcaster. That was very cute. Thank you. And before we get started, nurse, I want to remind you, because you probably forgot, that today is World Chimpanzee Day. I'm not making that up. So we honor all chimpanzees, those on the chat, and those around the world that don't have access to the internet or a phone, but one day they will. And they're our closest relatives in the animal kingdom. So if you're a chimpanzee and you're on this chat, I salute you. Thank you. I'm glad that you're with me. Taco Tuesday, Texas Tuesday. What do you guys celebrate? Now, I know the nurse is in Texas, so I'm gonna heart the nurse for Texas Tuesday. I don't know where anyone else is located except for her, but she's awesome. Hello, good morning. Happy Texas Tuesday to you. Now, what I know about Texas today is the recovery efforts are in full swing. The flooding that started back on July 1st was terrible. Way more water fell on central Texas than they thought was possible. Kerr County being the worst recipient of that huge downfall. And the good news is, if there is any good news after this kind of devastation, that they really are in recovery mode now. Meaning they've found most of the people they think they're going to find. I saw a story yesterday that said they found a couple of girls, a young girl and a young boy, a brother and sister, who'd been lost for over 3 or 4 days, and they found them. They didn't lose them. They somehow survived. I mean, there's some miraculous things going on too, and of course, there's a whole lot of tragedy. But it was wonderful to see the country come together. 14 states helped Texas with supplies, with manpower and woman power on the ground, and 3 of those states are blue states. So that really, I mean, of course, being a conservative in 2025, you know how divided our country is. And it's unfortunate, but it is. That's the reality of life right now. But when something like this happens and 14 states say, you know what, this is not about politics. The rain doesn't care if you're a Democrat or Republican. If rain falls on someone's state, hundreds and thousands of gallons at a time, they're going to need help. That's all that matters. It was Americans helping Americans. So just don't forget that. Hang on to that. I do. I hang on to any little brief moments of partisanship that I can see in the world right now, because I think we all need that. The news on both sides, on all sides, the news is the news to get a reaction out of you, right? If it bleeds, it leads. That's still the truth. If it bleeds, it leads. And that's way more important. Getting clicks and making money is way more important than informing us completely. So that's why I'm a big believer in being my own information advocate. That's why I do this whatever you want to call it, this podcast, this show. I come on here and I talk to you about what I've learned, what I'm learning about politics on my journey, my conservative content creation journey. And I've learned that it's impossible for everyone to know everything. Everyone does have an opinion about most things. But the good news is we've never had more access to information free than ever. So if you're really curious about a topic, you can do a deep dive on your own and learn. For example, before the One Big Beautiful Bill was passed, I was encouraging everybody on my chats here and on YouTube and other places where I do this. You can read the One Beautiful Bill. Go to congress.gov. That's a website. At congress.gov. You can read the One Big Beautiful Bill in its entirety. It's very long. It's a lot of legalese. It's not an easy read. I'm not going to lie to you. Pack a sandwich or two. Take a nap. Bring a pillow so you can take a nap when you're halfway through it. Hey, Ginger, what's up? But what I'm saying is, I'm old enough to know that there was a time when you could only rely on the news for your information, because we didn't have cell phones. The internet wasn't around yet. We were literally at their mercy a long time ago, and that's changed, and that's better. It's better for people to have more access to information. So that's on the positive side. Living in 2025 and having 24/7 news and 24/7 everything is better in terms of knowing more stuff. Well, I think the negative side of that, I think that on the negative side of that same situation is we often don't know the context of what we're absorbing. So you'll see this horrible thing happened in this city a minute ago, and you're like, oh, why? What happened? Who didn't? Doesn't matter. We'll sort the details out later. We just want you to know that. We want you to watch it on our channel so we make money from selling commercials, So I understand the business model behind the news. I really do. But and it's kind of the same thing with this app. Think about it, guys. I mean, I love you coming on here every day and following me. I love chatting with people. I love doing this. But TikTok rewards me for keeping people on this app for a long time, hoping you go to the TikTok shop and buy stuff. Right? I mean, and I'm not encouraging you to do that. I'm not encouraging you to do that. Don't do that. But from TikTok's perspective, I make a little bit of money from being on here doing this, because some of you folks might wander over to the TikTok shop and buy something. It's not a lot. I promise it's not a lot. But that's the business model of TikTok. Keeping people on the app. That's why, as a creator, TikTok's constantly hitting me up all the time saying, why are you going live? Hey, go live. Talk about stuff. People like when you talk. You should go live. And they're what's motivating the app, what's motivating the algorithm is because if Mr. Soli and Patriots Only Please keeps people on the app for a long time, they'll eventually buy stuff. And the news is the same thing. I mean, if you watch, whether it's Fox News on the right, and Fox News is definitely coming from the right. I don't pretend that it's not. And CNN is 100% on the left. No question about it. You notice in between their news stories, what are there? Lots of commercials. Because that's how they make money. They keep you on the network. Hey, Mike, what's up, man? I'm talking about the business model of news. And I'm comparing the business model of the news business to the business model of gauchos and donuts. Every day, Mr. Dean comes on my chat. He feeds me a donut and turns me into a gaucho, an Argentinian cowboy. It's weird. It's a little bit creepy, but it's fun. It's very fun. Thanks, man. It's not creepy. He's my buddy. Mike is a fantastic entertainer in Las Vegas. I'm gonna pitch you, buddy. Michael Dean, you can find him on IG. If you come to Las Vegas, you go to like Old Red or Jason Aldean's. He's there picking and grinning. He plays all over town. He plays like 20 nights a month. He's a full-time entertainer, and he's a really great guy. And I'm proud to call him a friend. Hey, what's up, Max? But I'm just pointing out to everyone right now, guys, that we know how the news works. Hey, Robin, what's going on? So keep that in mind. Just keep that in mind. When you're gathering information, when you're trying to learn about a subject, when you see some new breaking news, they're telling you what's happened, but oftentimes they're not putting it in context yet. And that's where it gets dangerous to me, you know? That's why I say have your own source of the news that you know is going to provide you the full story. That's all. But I mean, let's face it, the news is a for-profit business, like TikTok. TikTok is a for-profit business. I'm happy to come on here and talk to you guys. I enjoy it. I'm really passionate about content creation, about politics. But I make a little bit of money for being on here for a long time. And the reason is they hope that you guys will eventually go to the TikTok shop and buy stuff. They don't care. They don't care about my content. They care about people buying stuff, like the news, like most things in the world, right? And listen, Aaron. TikTok shop is addicting. So just trigger warning. Like they have this thing now, and I'm not promoting it. I am not promoting. I wish I could put flashing things on the bottom of my screen. Dude, I am not saying buy this product. Do not buy. I have not bought it myself, but in the TikTok shop right now for like $7, they have this sunscreen thing. It lives on your dashboard. You pull it up and connect it to your visors, and it's like a sun thing. I'm in the desert. I'm in Las Vegas. It's gonna be 114 today. It's miserably hot right now. So I have the old school one. You gotta like take it up from the back seat and like imagine having it like on the dashboard. You just go boop, and then you don't melt for $7. I'm telling you to not buy it, but stuff like that's on there that makes you're like $7, no shipping cost. How can I not buy that? That's why they pay me a little bit of money to talk the way that I talk for as long as I talk. Yes, TikTok shop has made problems with too much spending on my side. Well, I stopped. My parents raised me better. Good for you, Sagittarius. Honestly, good for you. But it's definitely a impulse buy. Like, you know, for example, say I'm in Southern Nevada. We have convenience stores called Walgreens. And like you go to Walgreens and it's like a supermarket on steroids. It's like everything you need but in a small place. It's easier to get in and out of a big box store. They charge a little bit more for the convenience of that, right? So you're going up to the cashier's register and there's always little impulse buys, like last minute, like, oh, an energy drink, oh, gum. Because they want to get you as much as they can before you walk out the door. The TikTok shop is that. And I've been guilty of overspending, but I put a moratorium on it for myself. Only because I was spending too much. But Sagittarius has it figured out. Her parents raised her better. Good for you. Look at this dinosaur chilling, drinking a pina colada. Thank you. So yeah, I get it. Now, not if, but when TikTok gets an American partner, because that's the deal. That's one thing the Biden-Harris administration left the Trump administration. The deal that the Biden-Harris administration worked out with TikTok was they had to eventually get an American business partner because ByteDance, the company that owns TikTok, works directly with the CCP, with the Chinese Communist Party. They're connected. So, you know, Biden-Harris said, listen, that's fine, but you have access to a lot of Americans' information, and we want to have an American company to counterbalance that in the United States. And Trump agreed with that, and Trump's since given TikTok 3 reprieves, 3 chances to find an American partner. The next due date, if you will, is September 5th. By September 5th of this year, TikTok's got to find an American partner, or the app will be shut down in the USA. And a lot of folks have stepped up. Oracle has stepped up. Kevin O'Leary, Mr. Wonderful from Shark Tank fame, he's got a consortium of billionaires that want to buy TikTok. So it's interesting times, but I doubt the business model itself will change. In other words, I think TikTok will continue to reward creators like me, in the hope that folks like you who are on here for politics will eventually go, oh, there's that thing on the TikTok shop that I wanted to pick up. Let me just go ahead and get that real quick. And now, if you know what I mean, so if while I'm talking for an hour and a half, if 400 people do that, you know, that's awesome for them. I like I said, and like Aaron said, I had to stop because anything that I saw was cool. I'm like, I can always just send it back. I'll just get it, you know? And then it would come and I'm like, it's kind of, anyway, that's my own personal story. But yeah. And don't forget, and just keep in mind, if you're a political person like me, The news is the same model. Even conservatives love Fox News. Conservatives love OAN. Conservatives love Newsmax. I mean, I can keep going. But they're also in the business to make money. There's also commercials on all those networks too. They're also trying to sell you stuff. So it's a for-profit business. You know, I wish it weren't so. I wish there was a way for the news to be like a charitable news or like a no-profit tax, you know, a no-profit news organization. Probably not possible in a capitalist country like the United States. But I always keep that in the back of my mind when I'm watching any story, and also the immediacy of the coverage. You know, when again, I'm old enough to know. I'm old enough to remember a time when by the time we got the news at 6 o'clock at night or whatever, the story had happened. They had time to put it in context and tell you this and this led to this, and what we're going to show you is a result of this. As opposed to now where it's like, this just happened. What does it mean? Well, we lean on the left, so probably Trump screwed something up. I don't know, maybe. And if they're on the right, like, well, probably the Democrats were messing around with something. You know what I mean? So I'm very careful about whenever I see the breaking news thing, I'm like, let me do my own research here and figure it out. I'm not telling anyone else what to do. It's what I do, so I can put things in context before I just absorb them into my head and think that they're true or facts. Does that make sense? That was a long rant about not much. Not even a rant though. More of like a, you know what it was? It wasn't a rant. You know, on the side of like a cigarette, on the cigarette box. I don't smoke cigarettes, but on the side of every cigarette box, there's a warning label. I was like giving you a warning label about the news itself. I mean, in 2025, the news is a for-profit business. Just keep that in mind. They're showing you what they want you to see. They're showing you what they think you want to know, or they're showing you what they think. The news is. Depending on what channel you're on, that station has its own philosophy, its own politics, its own agenda, and they're telling you the news they think you should know and the way that you should know it. That doesn't always necessarily align with the truth. That's why when it came to the One Big Beautiful Bill, I read it myself. I'm like, that way I'll know what it says. I'm not going to let anyone else interpret it for me. So I recommend doing that as much as your schedule allows, as much as your life allows, because it's kind of better to know on your own. Like, okay, this is my opinion on this issue because I read it. I know both sides, and I decided on this. Just a simple recommendation. Alexa, can you play classic rock? How am I doing, guys? Having fun yet? I just think that it's important to point that out. You know, we all move through our lives with our phones, watching whatever outlet we think is. Everyone has their own preference, right? And everyone's allowed to have their own preference in terms of how they consume the news, politics, current events, whatever it is. Just remember, whatever platform you're choosing to consume that information from is a for-profit platform. Just keep that in mind. You know, if you start seeing the same kind of things over and over again, you're like, oh, they're probably sponsored by that. You know what I mean? You know, for example, you know, I think Google is literally always listening to us. Does anyone? I'm going to heart people that believe that, but I'm pretty sure that Google is somehow always listening to us, because everyone on this chat's had this happen to them. I know it. Without even knowing you guys personally, I know for a fact that all of you had said something to a friend like, I need to get more wristbands for when I play pickleball, and then an hour later you start getting ads and emails for wristbands, right? That's happened to everybody. Okay, if TikTok is shut down, where can we find you? You can find me on Conservative Coffee Talk 1.0 on YouTube, and in my bio, I've got a link tree. If you just click on my link tree, or what's even better, Jinja, if you would just message me your email address. I'm creating an email newsletter, so if you want to just message me on TikTok an email address, that I won't send you stuff. I won't send you anything. Just down the road, if we do get shut off, or if I get removed, I'll be able to reach back out to people that like my content via email and direct you to the new place that I'll be. But YouTube, I've had no problems with YouTube ever. And it's Conservative Coffee Talk 1.0 is my YouTube channel. I do longs and shorts there. Long videos and shorts about the news, news of the day, stuff like that. So you can always find, and it's less restrictive. I'm very, very careful with my language on TikTok because I have to be, and I respect that. I respect the fact that TikTok has so many people on their app all the time. They don't want to offend anybody. I get it. But it's almost impossible to not offend somebody. You know what I mean? But that's the goal of their algorithm. YouTube, to me, in my personal opinion, seems to be a little bit less restrictive. So I can speak more freely on YouTube. So if you want to follow me there, that's a great place to do it. When looking into news things in DFW, Kevin would ruin the app. Kevin would ruin the app. Yeah, I mean, he's Tabor says Kevin would ruin the app. Mr. O'Leary, Kevin O'Leary, Canadian business billionaire. He might, but I think the goal of having an American partner for TikTok is to make the algorithm a little bit less restrictive. I think that's the goal, and to make it. I think the goal of forcing TikTok to have an American partner in the USA is to disallow TikTok from getting so much access to our information. Do you guys agree with that? Do you think that's one of the goals? It must be, because TikTok, I mean, when you have an app on your phone, like we've installed TikTok on our phones, I think they can pretty much see all our pictures and stuff like that. And I think the American partner would be their new role would be we're gonna adjust the algorithm so it's less digging into people's privacy. Is that anyone's interpretation of what that is supposed to mean? I think that's part of the reasoning. You know what I mean? I think that's part of the reasoning. Part of the reasoning is, yeah, William, I hope you do. Thank you so much, man. Conservative Coffee Talk 1.0 on YouTube, and it's in my link tree here on the link in my bio. Everyone says that. Look at the link in my bio. But I do think, yeah, email will be great. I do think that's part of the reasoning of having an American partner, to make the app less restrictive and make it harder for TikTok to harvest all of our personal information, which I'm fine with. I know as an adult what I'm giving up in terms of my privacy, and I accept it. It's kids, 14-year-olds, 15-year-olds. They don't know, they're not aware of privacy yet. Like not even really aware of boundaries yet. And I think that's the people we want to keep an eye on, right? We don't want some huge conglomerate seeing into our kids' lives. I don't. You know what I mean? Again, this is for entertainment and educational purposes only. I'm not an expert. I'm not a hacker. I don't design algorithms. But I think that was the thinking behind the Biden-Harris administration's ruling that TikTok in the USA had to get an American business partner I think for those two reasons. Thank you, moderator. You're doing your thing. Is Meta now involved with TikTok? I don't know. I think Meta's on the list. Meta is on the list to be one of the American partners for TikTok. Oracle, they're a huge. I think Oracle's on the list. Meta's on the list. I think Jeff Bezos. I think Amazon has made a bid. And as I mentioned before, Kevin O'Leary from Shark Tank fame, Mr. Wonderful. It's his handle. He's got a consortium of billionaires that have a whole lot of money ready to invest into TikTok if they get the bid. But I think there's several. Let's just face it, several wealthy businesses that want to buy into TikTok because it's like Trump has said. Once TikTok gets an American partner in the USA, they're off to the races. We're talking about $1 trillion valuation kind of company. So a lot of very wealthy people want to buy in. So I don't know the exact answer. I think Meta is in the mix, though. Yeah. Let's see here. I love the tap thing. All right, guys. Should I dive into the news? So Guadalupe. Okay. So they won't. So Guadalupe. My understanding is TikTok is not selling itself. It's going to. In order to operate, so the Biden-Harris administration issued a ruling that Trump accepted and is honoring as well, that TikTok right now is 100% owned by a Chinese company called ByteDance. But ByteDance is connected to the CCP, the Chinese Communist Party. And so in order to operate in the USA, they want TikTok to have an American partner, 50-50, a 50% American partner, 50% Chinese company owned in the USA only. So TikTok's not selling. they're divesting half of their company to an American company in order to operate in the USA. And the alternative is if ByteDance and the CCP won't allow that, they won't be able to operate in the USA. Now, I can't imagine any app on the planet Earth wanting to lose our business. There's 350 million of us, right? So they're not selling themselves off. They're divesting 50% for an American partner. She's hearing the Journey in the background. What's up, Aaron? Classic rock, man. You know, I'm a big believer. I've been playing music for tourists for a long time, proudly, and I'm convinced. My mantra when it comes to playing songs for tourists, I mean, people from all over the world who have different backgrounds and languages. People don't know what they like. They like what they know. Most people know Journey. If you play Hotel California anywhere on the planet Earth, and I've done it, there are people that in villages, in places that know every word to Hotel California in English. And then you ask them in their own language through a translator, do you know any of what these words mean? No. They don't know what they have no idea what they're saying, but they know every single lyric to Hotel California. That's a real thing. I've experienced it. So I'm the one singing the song and they're singing along with me perfectly. I finish the song and I'm like, how do you guys know what this song means? I'm like, they don't know what those words were. Like, play that one, play it again. That's the power of music. So, yeah, Journey's awesome. How would you know if someone is unemployed? I don't know what that means. But thanks for playing. Brandon Rude. Uh-oh. We got some rude people in here. So, guys, I want to dive into the news, if that's okay. We started with Texas. Texas is recovering, thank goodness. Thank God bless Texas. Remember that song, Little Texas? I'm really glad that Texas is... Nurse, you're there. The nurse, our moderator today, lives in Texas. She's about 3 hours away from Kerr County, the heart of most of the flooding. So, but she says things are getting better there too, which is great to know. But now, I mean, I'm following this pretty closely. They're in full recovery mode now in Texas, which is great. I want to talk about what happened in California. Was it yesterday? The pot farm. Did anyone see that? What happened on the pot farm? Any pot farm people on the chat? There's a pot farm in California, and I'm switching to the news now. I'm switching to current events. So there's a pot farm in California, which that's cool, you know. I'm pretty sure pot's illegal there. Medical marijuana is definitely illegal, and you've got to grow marijuana in the ground. So they have pot farms. Nothing weird about that. What was weird about this pot farm in California was that there were 361 people working there who were non-citizens, and many of them had criminal records. So ICE did their thing, and 14 minor children were freed. Let's say 14 minor children who were there, not by their own will, were freed, and the Democrats' response to that was, ICE is evil. I'm not making this up. Everything I just said is true. There was a ICE site raid at a pot farm in California yesterday. 361 of the people working there were illegal, and they got arrested. And I think 50 or 60 of them had criminal records in their countries of origin and here in the United States. And then 14 children, and by children I mean minor children, 13, 14 years old, were working not because they wanted to be there, if you know what I'm trying to say. Right? They were, yeah. So my question is, what is the state of California doing to protect exploited child labor? Well, what is California doing about that? California, as we all know, like most sanctuary states, has thrown open its own state borders to illegal non-citizens for years. So they have to know that some of the kids coming into their state are being forced to work. What's their policy on that? Because if you invite that into your state, what's the remedy for the kids? I'm always worried about kids, personally, because adults can make their own decisions, right? That's the definition of being an adult. You're old enough to say, I weighed the pros and cons and I made this decision. Or I didn't. But as an adult, you also have the right to not choose. You can just roll with the punches because you're an adult. But kids, minors, don't have those legal ability. They don't have the legal ability to do that. So I think we have to protect children the most. Would you agree with that? So if California or Illinois or New York, any sanctuary state, shouldn't they be beefing up their child protection laws if they're going to allow migrants, non-citizen migrants into their states? You see my point? Because I understand that adults might trick the system. If you're in the country illegally and you trick the system, and maybe the pot farmer, maybe the owners of the pot farm didn't know they were illegal. That's a possibility. I don't know the full story, but they were not. They were in the country illegally, and a lot of them had criminal records. But what was known, but 14 kids were there, not by their own will. Now the owner had to know that. So hopefully the owner's in a whole lot of trouble too. But my point is, if you're gonna be a sanctuary state, a sanctuary city, and say all are welcome, and once you're here, we consider you one of us, who's protecting the kids? You know, I mean, what if some of the people that came into your state to do this to kids? So who's safeguarding the kids? I mean, Gavin Newsom's response is ICE is evil and ICE is terrible and shame on ICE. Like, well, they found 14 kids being forced to work in a place they didn't want to be, minors. So that's great that ICE did that, isn't it? No, it's terrible. Like, I'm wondering how Democrats square that circle. If you want to be a sanctuary state and invite people in, shouldn't you beef up your child protection laws to make sure no kids are getting exploited? That seems to me a very simple answer. Kim saw a journey. Yes, Lillian, thank you. Dems don't care. ICE was doing their job and doing it well. It's very true. So, I mean, you would think California parenting groups would champion this moment. You would think every single church in California would champion this. I mean, every single kids' rights group in the world, in the United States, would be championing this. No one wants to see kids forced to work or worse, okay? Or worse. I'm not going to say what I mean, but you know what I mean, because that's also happening. Yeah? The Biden-Harris administration let in 300,000 unaccompanied minors. Unaccompanied minors, 10, 11, 12 years old. And they've lost track of them. Trump's trying to find them all. Trump's team has found quite a few, but there's still hundreds of thousands of unaccompanied minors in the USA somewhere. We hope that nothing's happening to them. We hope this is the worst thing that might be happening to them, forced labor, because there are a lot of worse things that could be happening to them. That's one of the problems with open borders. This is one of the main problems with being a sanctuary state. You're inviting this into your state, and you're not policing it. You're not regulating it, because you don't even know who these people are. You're assuming everyone's going to be doing nice things and being good citizens. There's a lot of not nice people in the world that come here for nefarious purposes like this. And thank goodness that ICE protected these kids. I'm sure CPS, child protection. I'm sure child protective services swept in right away and took care of the kids, which is their job. Every state has a child protective services division. Thank goodness. And I hope they're real busy finding kids that need help, because these 14 kids did not deserve to be forced to do this. That's not nice, not good. But when you're a sanctuary state, don't you owe it to your own citizens to make sure you've beefed up all these child protection labor laws? Did you hear about older? Yes, I did. Historian, what's going on? He's doing great. Thanks, buddy. So yeah, I mean, I just think. Listen, I don't agree with sanctuary states. I don't agree with the mayor of Boston saying publicly and proudly, we don't care where you're from. Once you're in Boston, you're one of us, and you have access to all of our services and free stuff. Like, huh? You kidding me? What about the taxpayers? The taxpayers are paying for So if you're a Bostonian and you're here, that's how I feel. You can vote me out, and I hope they do. I hope they vote Mayor Wu out, because her stance on this stuff is crazy. In my personal opinion, for educational purposes only. But when taxpayers are footing the bill, if you're in California and you're paying taxes, would it bother you to know that this is going on in your state? That no one's protecting these kids? There's nothing patriotic about that. There's nothing blue or red about that. I think all adults agree that children need to be protected from forced labor or worse, because the or worst thing is happening too. So where's the California division of whatever to protect kids from that? Again, if you're saying if you're telegraphing to the whole world that we're a sanctuary state, anyone can come here and start their life over again, legally or not. Yeah, but there are going to be people that take advantage of people. Then what happens? Yeah, or worse. Amen. And there's a lot of or worse that I can't talk about on this app. But that's disturbing. But another win for ICE in a state where they're not welcome, where the Democratic governor and the Democratic mayor of LA have told them, get out of my state. And to which the federal ICE agent said, well, we don't work for you. We work for the federal government, not the state government. So we're not going anywhere. And please don't try to force us to leave, because that'll be bad for you. By the way, I looked into this, and the laws surrounding federal employees executing their jobs. And so at this pot farm arrest in California, some of the folks there threw items at the ICE agents. Now, luckily, no one got hurt. No one was seriously injured, but I read the statute, and you can too. A federal ICE agent executing a federal warrant, if you impede that investigation physically, try to physically stop that agent, or if you throw a dangerous weapon at an agent and it strikes the agent, 20 years minimum in prison. So, yeah, there's real consequences to get. There's very serious consequences to stopping to interrupting a federal operation, especially one that results in freeing 14 kids and finding 361 people here illegally, many of whom were criminals. Hey, Kim. So all these Democratic leaders who are encouraging citizens to go after ICE agents, citizens, just realize they know that. Democratic leaders know the law. They write the law. Democrats are lawmakers. They know the federal statutes behind this stuff. They know that if a citizen were to do something physical to an ICE agent, that person can go away for a long time. Or to hurl an object at a federal employee in pursuit of a federal warrant, that the person that hurled the object gets in a whole lot of trouble. Real jail time. Real jail time. Federally, not the state level, federally. You get yanked out of California and taken someplace else and put away. That's the way the law's written. So just keep in mind, Democrats, if there's Democrats on the chat that are proud of being anti-ICE and being pro illegal immigrant, it's fine to express that and use your First Amendment rights to do so. But if you physically get in the way of ICE performing its duties, or worse, try to injure a federal ICE agent in the line of duty, you're gonna go away for a long time. Pam Bondi's not fooling around about this stuff, and she shouldn't be. So just keep that in mind. It's one thing to protest. It's one thing to talk a lot. It's a whole other thing to start trying to hurt federal employees in doing their jobs at the request of a federal judge. This is all Democrats talk about due process. This is the definition of due process. So you're not only getting in the way of due process, you're trying to hurt people who are doing that job, the federal employees. You'll get in a whole lot of trouble for that. So I recommend that you don't do that. Talk, yell, complain, call your congressperson, call your senator. But I recommend strongly that you do not try to injure an ICE agent or a federal employee doing in the line of duty ever, because the consequences will be very severe. Anyway, the good news is these kids were freed. They got these folks. They shut down the pot farm, and it's another day. And here we are. Dems are lawbreakers. Dems are lawbreakers. Here, Dems, Jinja. I love the comment. Dems convince their followers to break the law. Dems themselves know the limit. You know what I mean? Dems are politicians. They're lawmakers themselves. They go right up to the line of breaking the law, and then they go to their constituents. Now it's your turn to resist. Go, because they know this administration is not fooling around. I mean, Trump and Tom Homan have said if you're a judge and you're harboring illegal migrants, well, you'll go to jail. And judges know the law, and judges know they can go to jail too. Judges are not above the law. They might administer the law in their district or state, but they're not above federal law. So just a word to the wise, if you're a Democrat and you're out there doing stuff like that, think again, or read the statute for yourself. I talked earlier in the chat about being your own information advocate. Read the statute. Go online and read the federal statute about trying to stop a federal ICE agent in the line of duty, or worse, trying to injure or impair a federal ICE agent in the line of duty, and read what the consequences are for yourself. So you know the risks of those actions. Apart from that, it's just wrong. You'll know what'll happen if it happens, if you do that. Okay, I've been talking a lot. Let me go ahead and answer some people's questions. Sorry. There's a lot more news to cover too. I've got some really good news. Yeah, I mean, Lillian, for sure. Like I said, Dems themselves are very careful about breaking the law themselves. They're very good at encouraging their voters to do it, citizens, because Democrat leaders, senators, and congresspeople enjoy a lot of, they write the laws, so they know they go right up to the line of breaking the law, and then they stop. And then they encourage their voters, regular citizens, to go, full on and do that. Shame on them. And by the way, if your Democratic congressperson or senator is encouraging you to do this and you get in trouble for it, you can't say no one told you. You can't say you didn't know. This is really an important area of your life where you should know the consequences of your actions. Just read the statutes. They're very, very clear, and they're all in favor of the federal employees who are just doing their jobs, following the orders of a judge, executing warrants. These are all federal employees in the line of duty. You can't mess with them and you can't hurt them. And if you do, you're in big trouble. How small is it? It's a weird question, dude. He asked me the same question 18 times. Must be a bot. Nurse, these people are mad because Trump is enforcing the law. Not only did Biden not enforce the law, Biden encouraged this. I mean, the Biden-Harris administration made it into a bonanza. Like, hey, if you come here, well, we got you. Housing, food, healthcare, college, whatever you want, just come. So yeah, they went way beyond not enforcing the law. They went the other way. But that's why Trump won, because Kamala Harris embodied that belief. Open borders at all costs. Well, at taxpayers' costs. So that's why she lost definitively. That's why she lost all 7 swing states. That's why Trump broke down the blue wall. And Trump won the popular vote and the electoral college. You can't win more than that. Trump won everything. He won everything you can win in a presidential election. Kamala lost everything you can lose in a presidential election. And by the way, her party, at the time of the election, controlled 2 chambers of a 3-chamber government. She lost that too. So, complete disaster. And part of the reason was she completely misunderstood the American people. She thought she knew what she was talking about. When you live in California your whole life, and then you move to D.C., you've literally gone from super blue to super blue. There's a whole lot of red in the middle. There's a whole lot of red in the middle that you don't even know what it is. So when you go on your tours and your campaigning, you're like, we're gonna do a concert in Iowa because I have no idea what to say to these people, because you know what I mean? Trump kills it everywhere he goes because he's a real person. He's authentic. He authentically cares about the country. He's authentically America first. He's authentically, he knows what. So, yeah. This issue, the issue of immigration, illegal immigration, cost the Democrats everything in the last presidential election, and they're doubling down on it. So if you're still following the Democrats, I'd recommend you check out a thing called #WalkAway. Walk away. You can walk away from the Democrats, but you're supporting a losing team, because this issue is going to keep dragging them down forever. Americans who pay taxes, that work really hard and pay taxes, are not going to continue to allow people to come into our country and get everything for free. I mean, as we're having this conversation right now, mortgage rates are at 7%. All you can do is cackle. Me? Kim? I thought we were buddies. I'm not cackling. I think you're talking to somebody else in the chat. Her word salad was idiotic. Well, yeah, I mean, Kamala Harris was not a great public speaker, but the content of her message was the same content of Joe Biden's message, which is the far left's version of life. And Americans rejected the far left. Now, if Kamala and Joe Biden had done what they said when they won, they were going to move to the middle and be more of a centrist Democratic administration, it might have been a different story. But the minute they won, they moved all the way to the left. Completely. It made that sound. And now we know Joe Biden wasn't really running things. The auto pen, that's a whole other conversation we could have some other time. But Joe Biden told the American people he'd be in the middle. He'd be everyone's president. And the minute he got in, he moved way far to the left. He had those 2 speeches where he called all MAGA Republicans not even citizens. I mean, he was a very divisive, terrible president when he was awake. He was mostly not awake, thank goodness. Because imagine if he'd been awake the whole time, how bad things would have been. At least he was mostly sleeping. But anyway, yeah, well, Lillian, that they did. And we're seeing that in New York, right? We're seeing the mayoral candidate, Mondani. By the way, I'm glad you brought that up. So Lillian said Biden-Harris wanted Marxist communism. It's true. And they lost definitively because that's not going to happen in this country. But in a state like New York, where Democrats enjoy a supermajority of power, someone like Mondani's got a shot at being the mayor. I saw this today, by the way. So Mondani decimated Cuomo. The former New York governor, Andrew Cuomo, ran to be the mayor of New York City in the primary, and he got smoked. Mondani beat the former governor by double digits. So today, Andrew Cuomo made an announcement. He's going to run as an independent in November, along with Eric Adams. Check this out. Okay, folks on the chat, nurse, check this out. 2 Democrats, a former governor and the current sitting mayor of New York City, have both left the Democrat Party to run as independents in the mayoral race in November against Mondani. Isn't there a whole lot of that going around? People leaving the Democratic Party? The former press secretary, Karine Jean-Pierre, who for 3.5 years was the mouthpiece of the Biden-Harris administration's disastrous administration, she's left the Democrat Party. She's out. On the Republican side, our coalition is growing by the second. The Republican coalition is growing in leaps and bounds and leaps and bounds and leaps and bounds and every demographic, every age group, everywhere. People are like, the Republicans are the resistance, not the Democrats. The Democrats care more about illegal non-citizens than they do about American taxpayers. Period. End of sentence. Boom. That's all you have to know. And they can't stand Trump. So the Democrats have decided that TDS is more important than helping average Americans. Here's the good news, okay? Yes, a lot of them leaving. Yeah, Aaron, they're leaving. You know what? They're either going to not vote. They're either going to not vote again, or they're going to vote for not, because Trump. I mean, I've got a lot of, believe it or not, I've got a lot of Democrat friends who in the last election cycle said, I cannot vote for Kamala because I know how bad she is, but I can never vote for Trump. And they just sat it out. That helped us too. There's a lot of that, and that's fine. But if you're going to vote for Democrats, if you're going to vote for Democrats in 2025, after we saw what just happened with the Biden-Harris administration, you're voting for open borders, endless wars, double-digit inflation. You're voting for tax and spend. You're voting for the Green New Scam, which has a $7 trillion price tag if the Democrats, were to go full on with the Green New Scam. You're voting for biological men competing against biological women in sports. You're voting for DEI. You're voting for all these woke policies in every facet of American life. You're voting to allow the whole school district thing. There's school districts in sanctuary states where the schools are not even allowed to inform the parents that their kids are thinking about doing things with their bodies. They're not allowed to. You're voting for that. So I'm really glad I'm on the right side of history. I'm really glad that I'm a Republican. I'm really glad that Trump is the president. I'm really glad that Kamala Harris lost. And it was because here's the thing. Let's think about this for a second. The election in 2020 was a referendum on Trump and how he handled COVID. And it was a tough one because up until COVID, Trump was killing it. Trump had a great first term up until COVID. COVID threw a huge monkey wrench into the whole world, and Trump did his best. But the Democrats were able to convince a lot of Americans that Trump fumbled the ball, and they do a better job picking up the COVID ball and running it to the end zone during Biden's term, okay? Well, the November 5th, 2024 election was a referendum on the Democrats. And guess what? The Americans' conclusion was definitively the Democrats blew it. Trump might have fumbled it in the first, and Trump might have fumbled the COVID thing, maybe. I don't think he did, but the Democrats convinced enough Americans to believe that to win the election in 2020. But the election on November 5th, 2024 was absolutely a referendum on Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, and they lost everything. They lost everything you can lose. You can't lose more than what they lost. All 7 swing states, the blue wall, the electoral college, and the popular vote. It was a complete defeat. Hashtag complete defeat. November 5th, 2024, hashtag complete defeat for the Democrats. Thank goodness. And now we have an America First president. Now the one big beautiful bill has been signed into law. All of Trump's campaign promises into law, happening as we speak. It's a glorious thing. You should join our side if you're a Democrat. Let me see here. Well, who did I miss? Bro is obsessed with politics. Bro is obsessed with the truth. I'm obsessed with the truth. And let's face it, guys, politics affects all aspects of our lives. Name one area of our life that politics doesn't affect. I'll wait. I'm a business owner. Tons of business taxes, tons of... I'm a business owner. I can't think of one area of life that politics doesn't affect. So to say I'm obsessed with politics, it just means I'm obsessed with understanding the people who are poking into my life all the time and charging me money for it. That's what politics is, right? Well, I want to know who's poking and how much they're charging me to poke. So if that's obsession, maybe it is, but I don't think it is. I just want to be a well-informed citizen. Under the Biden-Harris administration, there was no transparency. I had no idea how they were spending our tax dollars except on Ukraine and on illegal immigrants. $500 billion to non-citizens while Americans couldn't pay their rent or buy gas or buy food. Didn't make any sense to me. So a business owner pays tariffs. These guys, see, transparency, Epstein list. They're throwing out all the typical. After everything I said, that's what they're coming back at me with. I love it. Okay, I'm gonna talk about some positive stuff here. Okay, so before I came on the chat today, the House Republicans are giving a press conference in D.C. I learned some great stuff. I'm gonna share that information with you. This is from today, July 15th, 2025. Today, Tuesday. Here it comes. The last 4 job reports have exceeded expectations. What that means is, and these are private sector jobs. These are not government jobs. What this means is Americans are getting hired and getting paid. Wages are up in this country. The last 4 job reports have exceeded expectations. The private sector is hiring people. The CPI, the inflation, is the lowest since 2021. Gas prices are down nationally. I'm in Southern Nevada. Yesterday I paid $3.23 for a gallon of gas. In California, they're over $6 a gallon. California has a supermajority of Democrats controlling that state. Imagine that. The stock market is doing just fine. People were talking about a huge recession, a huge pullback. Not happening. Trump's tariffs are going to destroy the stock market. Actually, they're making us money. The Trump's tariffs brought in billions of dollars last month. And it's just the beginning. He's currently working out deals with 90 other countries. So we're going to see a huge surplus from Trump's tariffs. It's already started. Trump's signed historic peace agreements with Iran and Israel. The ceasefire with Iran and Israel, historic. Israel became a country in 1948. Israel has never had a formal ceasefire with Iran, and now they do. That's huge. Congo and Rwanda. The Democratic Republic of Congo and Rwanda have been at war for 31 years. A brutal, brutal, brutal war. There's no, unfortunately, in that part of Africa, those 2 countries do not respect the Geneva Convention, meaning kids They would give guns to kids to fight. I mean, it was really, really brutal. 31 years, 6 million people displaced, 6 million people had left and said, I'm not going to live in a war zone anymore. And twice that many unalived in that conflict. Trump brokered a peace. Over. Silence on the left. Democrats, silence. They want to talk about Epstein and silence on the left, though. This is generational stuff. This is for the continent of Africa. This is one of the biggest deals to ever happen, but the American left could care less. Shame on them. And of course, Trump helped broker the peace between India and Pakistan over Kashmir. The last big thing on Trump's list in terms of international conflicts is the Ukraine-Russia situation. And what's happening right now is that Trump is sending Patriot missiles to NATO to then distribute to Ukraine. So in an effort to try to and the reason he's doing that is he wants Putin to see that we're not sending weapons directly to Ukraine, we're sending them to NATO, who's then giving them to Ukraine, in the hope of striking a peace deal with Putin. Trump is trying like crazy to get a peace deal in place. Double sanctions on Russia. Trump's frozen every Russian asset in the United States that you can freeze federally. I mean, he's putting maximum pressure on Putin to come to the peace table. Biden-Harris didn't do that. Did you ever hear Joe Biden as the president talk about peace negotiations with Russia? I'm asking. I never heard it once. The Biden-Harris administration's mantra with Ukraine and Russia was give Ukraine money and weapons, don't talk about peace. So how do you end a conflict if you don't talk to both sides? Trump understands that. Trump's been talking to Putin through his envoys since January 20th, 2025. Since the day he got inaugurated, Trump's been chipping away at Putin to get him to come to the peace table. Let's see here. Thanks, Jinja. Appreciate that. Let's see here. 2024 complete defeat. You did it. I created a hashtag spontaneously and she documented it. Tammy O, 2024 hashtag complete defeat. It's a rim shot. Drummer. Thank you so much. That's wonderful. I'm going to screenshot that. That's awesome. 2024 complete defeat. We did it. We created a phrase that might go viral one day. Probably not, but you never know. If it does, it'll make TikTok Shop a lot of money, which benefits us not at all. Just kidding. 2020 didn't convince anybody. I don't know what that means, Gerald. I don't know what that means, but thanks for chiming in. Nurse, Joe, my money being given to them, job, school, class. Yeah, I mean, exactly. Hang on, guys. I got to do a thing here. Okay, I'm good. So that's all the good news. So the House Republicans, as I said earlier, the House Republicans gave a press conference today in D.C., and they just highlighted all the positive things happening in our country right now, which is kind of their job, right? Great job reports, inflation down, gas prices down, Trump's tariffs are saving Americans billions, no recession in sight. Hey, Jinja, stock market doing great, crypto killing it. By the way, Congress is working on a new crypto package as well to integrate cryptocurrency into our economy even more, which is going to benefit Bitcoin holders, Ethereum, all those token people. If you're into crypto at all, and I'm not suggesting that you do. It's completely up to you how you spend your money. I'm not here to provide any kind of advice financially. But if you are into crypto, this administration is very pro crypto. The previous one was very anti crypto. So there's that too. And of course the lawmakers, the House Republicans who helped draft and pass, like literally the lawmakers of the One Big Beautiful Bill, pointed these things out, and I want to share them with you if you don't mind. 90% of seniors in the USA will pay zero federal taxes on their benefits. 90%. Most American families will save about $10,000 per year from these tax cuts included in the One Big Beautiful Bill. Tipped Americans will pay zero on their tips. Overtime Americans will pay zero on overtime. School choice is now a reality. Conservatives have been talking about school choice for 40 years. Trump got it done. Now, if you're, and by the way, the Democrats voted against all of this. Democrats voted against all of these things. So in the midterms next year, Democrats have to look at their senior citizen voters and say, we voted to tax we voted to continue to tax your Social Security. We voted, service workers, we voted to continue to tax your overtime and your tips. Parents, we voted to keep you locked into this. Your kid goes to the free public school in your zip code program. We voted for that. Like, but the school in our zip code is failing, and we want to send our kid to a better school across town. Nope. If you're a Democrat, absolutely not. Your kid goes to the school in your zip code. That's how it works. We have a deal with the teachers union. That's how that works. Trump's bill says, no, it doesn't work like that anymore. Parents get a voucher or a huge tax break, use that money to send a kid to the school of their choice, and that school will provide, and that district will provide busing. This bill provides busing for kids to get to the schools where their parents want them to go. They broke the chains of the Democratic Party's connection to the teachers union, that your kid goes to the school in your zip code, whether it's failing or not. Those days are over. It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. Tax cuts across the board. I've got a question, okay? I've got a new fan. Thank you, buddy. I've got a question, okay? So Democrats voted against all these things. Democrats are against all of these things. So if if the one big beautiful bill had not passed, Americans' taxes would have gone up by at least 40%. I'll say that again. If Joe Biden's tax policy had been allowed to remain in effect, and if Trump's tax cuts from 2027 were not made permanent, if they were allowed to sunset, our taxes would have gone up 40%. Okay? So here's my question to the Democrats on the chat. It will not let me mute them. Who's them? Let me know and I'll mute them. Nurse, I'll take care of it right away. Well, okay, something's better than nothing. I'm sorry, but something is better than nothing. This is still a victory. You know, whatever the details are, it's still a victory. I'm in Southern Nevada. Everyone's a valet attendant here. Everyone works in food and beverage. Everyone's a dealer in a casino. Everyone works in a spa. You know, they're massage therapists, they're hairdressers. This is a big deal to them and to those people and their families. It really is. So here's my question. Since Democrats voted against all this, they voted against all this. Democrats voted against the tax breaks. So are you guys aware of this? If you want to send more money into the federal government, you can. You just you write a check for whatever, and in the memo line, just write general fund. So if Democrats really hate this one big beautiful bill, they can pay the higher rate. How many Democrats on this chat will pay 40% more in taxes because it's the right thing to do? I'll wait for an answer. In other words, everything Trump is doing is benefiting Democrats and Republicans. But if Democrats really can't stand Trump, and if Democrats really think this bill is no good, then take whatever you're paying for your federal income taxes, don't take the tax break, and pay 40% more when you pay your taxes. Just send it into the government and just write general fund. You can pay more. The government will take your money. So go for it. How many Democrats will say, I got them now, thank you, nurse. How many Democrats will say publicly on this chat, you know what? You're right. I have the courage of my convictions. I can't stand Donald Trump. I hate this one big beautiful bill. I'm going to pay 40% more in federal taxes because it's the right thing to do. And by the way, how many Democratic Congress people and senators will do the same thing? Will Hakeem Jeffries pay 40% more in taxes because he was completely against this bill? I bet he won't. I bet he'll take the tax break because he's a hypocrite, because Democrats are hypocrites. It's a solo cup. It's deficit spending for now. Respectfully, I appreciate your comment. It's a smart comment. Trump's growth projections are through the roof. Trump secured $5 trillion in the Gulf states alone on his 1 week tour there. That pays for this bill plus $2.5 trillion. So Trump's thought of all this stuff. Trump is a pro-growth, pro-business, bring your company to the United States and pay zero tariffs president. And that's happening as we speak. So many countries and so many large companies have committed to bringing their businesses here, bringing their headquarters here, paying zero taxes, getting huge tax breaks from the administration, of course. Because here's the thing, I'm in Southern Nevada, okay? When a new casino comes to Southern Nevada and they go through the long process of getting a gaming license, which takes at least a year. It's a big deal to get a gaming license in the state of Nevada. But once you have it, you can begin to you can start building casinos. Guess what casinos do? They employ tens of thousands of people. Tens of thousands of people. The MGM Grand on Las Vegas Boulevard employs over 10,000 people itself. Just that one property. Just that one property, and MGM has several properties in Vegas and around the world. MGM, they're huge. So they create tons of jobs. So the state of Nevada says, we're giving you a tax break, man. Thank you. You're taking care of a bunch of our citizens. Thank you so much. Here's a tax break. Well, the federal government does that too when a company like, I don't know, a company that has data centers says, we're going to bring a data center to one of your states and we're going to employ 1,500, 2,000 Americans to run it. That state and the federal government goes, thank you for putting our citizens to work. Here's tax breaks for you. It's the way business happens. There's nothing wrong with it. It's great. I mean, I live in a town full of casinos who employ half the people in Southern Nevada work for a casino directly or work through casinos or supply services to casinos. They employ so many people. So the government rewards them with tax breaks. There's nothing weird about that. So Trump asking all these companies to come to the USA and build their products here, build their factories here, and hire American citizens are going to get they're going to pay zero in tariffs, and they're going to get a big tax break. And it's going to benefit Americans, who, by the way, get those new jobs and have lower taxes because of this one big beautiful bill. Do you see the picture? So the comment this gentleman made, which was a very smart one, I'll go back to it here if I can find it, about long-term growth. Yes, this bill cost a few $1 trillion, but again, Trump secured $5 trillion in investment guarantees just in the Gulf states a month ago. Remember? He spent the week in Saudi Arabia, Qatar. Trillions in investments. Trillions. Not only building things here, but buying more American military products, buying more farmers' goods. U.S. farmers can sell U.S. farmers, for the first time in our country's history, can sell beef to the U.K. The U.K. and America have been allies since World War II, like best buddies allies. But we've been locked out of that market in terms of selling them food and services. Trump's new tariff deal with the new UK Prime Minister opens up the UK to United States businesses. Awesome. And on the left, silence. We hate Trump. Okay, whatever. I don't get it. That's fine. Good morning, Patriot. How you doing, Bree? We're letting them have it. UK tariff deal did diddly. You're right, re-rise. I'm sure, and I'm sure you read it, but it does a lot. I'm glad you're here. I love hearing people like that say that. It did diddly, yeah. I mean, if you're an American farmer and you can now sell beef into a country that you could never sell beef into before, it's a big deal. It's a big deal to a lot of farmers. Thank you, Jared. And by the way, now that I have your attention, I think I do. In the last administration, okay, and just please be honest. How many times did you hear Joe Biden or Kamala Harris talk about helping American farmers? I never heard them talk about it once, and I listened. Trump talks about American farmers all the time. Trump talks about working families all the time. Trump talks about, that this one big beautiful bill helps every single person, every single tax break. Every single person in every single tax bracket gets a tax break. And if you make very, very little money, if you don't even meet the standard deduction, you don't pay any federal taxes. And I live in Nevada. There's no state taxes. See what I'm saying? So before you poo-poo it, read it, which you won't. But if you're going to let CNN tell you what it means, you're going to make comments like this. So maybe read it on your own, or maybe wait to see the effects of it in action in our country, which I give it 2 or 3 months. But I mean, gas prices immediately, boop, But it's only July. Trump's got 3.5 more years to go, and a year and a couple of months till the midterms. I predict, and it's just a prediction. This is not a fact. It's just my opinion. My prediction opinion that the economy is going to be soaring by the end of the year, and I mean like soaring. Crypto through the roof, stock market through the roof, jobs everywhere, people making money again, people and consumers, taxpayers keeping more of the money they make. That's America first. Thanks, Kay. Read it. Something you can comprehend. Thanks, Balam. I did read it. I read the One Big Beautiful Bill. You're a dreamer. Okay, maybe I am. But thanks for being nice. Thanks for not being insulting. I appreciate that. There's a lot of people come on the chat that don't agree with me and say mean things, and they're insulting and use profanity, and I have to remove them. So I'm glad that we can disagree and you can be nice. Yeah, Dennis, the U.S. dollar's taking a hit. Right, it's for sure. The U.S. dollar's taking a hit. But go back to 1973. If you're a financial person like I am, go back to 1973 and type into any browser how many times has the U.S. dollar since 1973? Because President Nixon took the United States off the gold standard in 1971. So by 1973 we started to see inflation and stuff like that. Right, printing money that didn't exist. Go back to 1973. 2 years after President Nixon took us off the gold standard, and see how many times the value of the U.S. dollar has kind of dipped. And then what happens after that? It comes back up, like it goes like this, every single time. And in the investment community, the one phrase that you never want to hear, I've been investing for a long time, and one of the favorite mantras of financial advisors is this: the biggest mistake people make when they invest money in anything, the market, commodities, crypto, is, you ready? You ready for it? You ready? This is the one thing that people say that if you're an advisor or a savvy investor, you don't want to hear. You ready? This time it will be different. This time it will be different. Those 6 words have cost more investors more trillions of dollars than you can possibly imagine. Warren Buffett's got a very, very good investment strategy. Warren Buffett believes in buying companies, and the stocks are just so Warren Buffett believes in buying solid companies, meaning a lot more money and a lot less debt. Companies that have a strong amount of cash on hand and a lot of potential growth and very little debt. He buys the stocks of those companies, and that's why he's a billionaire. And what Warren Buffett has said many, many times is, if you're an average person making an average amount of money, one of the best investments you could make is some like ETF, like a VTI or VOO, just some fund that buys the S&P. If you can buy an ETF that buys most of the S&P at a low cost and do that for the rest of your life, you'll retire comfortably. Don't gamble. But the 6 words that every expert investor hates hearing is, this time it'll be different. Because it never is. Supply and demand is supply and demand, period. Doesn't change. So what I'm saying is, the value of the dollar going down happens all the time. But guess what? It always goes back up. Betting against the USA is always a bad bet. Another Warren Buffett principle. Never vote against the USA. Warren Buffett's been saying that for 40 years. Never bet against the USA. We're the biggest economy in the world. Our money is still the reserve currency of the world for a reason. We're the strongest military. We're the most successful country ever in human history. And you're going to vote against that? Good luck. Warren Buffett disagrees with you, and he's worth $80 billion. He's doing pretty good for himself. So there you go. Let's see here. Boss Nancy, only if you buy your own gold. Gold's gold's a reasonable thing to look at. If it's like 10% of your portfolio, sure. But I wouldn't go crazy with gold. Gold right now is at historically very, very expensive and going up. But don't be surprised if in a couple of years gold's down to $400 a troy ounce. Gold definitely does this over time. But gold's a hedge against inflation. What does that mean? A hedge against inflation means that gold prices go up as inflation goes up. Same thing with Bitcoin. And hedges against inflation make sense in a portfolio, like 10%, 5%. But the bulk of your portfolio, I believe, should be in equities. But I'm not here to give advice. I'm not a financial advisor. I don't have my Schedule C and all that stuff. We veered off the topic. But all I was trying to say was, for the person pointing out that the U.S. currency is being devalued right now, happens all the time. Go back today for fun. Go back in your browser and type in 1973, 2025. How many times the U.S. dollar has gone down in value, and how much has it gone back? How much has it gone back up in value? It'll go. It always goes way, way back up. So there's that too. I like Canada better. Cool. Canada's like a nice loft apartment over the United States. You know, I like Canada too. Let's see here. Hey, Liv, what's going on? We're going for it today. We're having fun. My local gas is way down. We're heading toward $3 a gallon in Southern Nevada. We're real close to that for, basic gas, basic regular, you know what I mean? Not premium or whatever, but my car takes basic gas, so I'm loving it. More on the shelves. Gas is lower. Inflation's lower. 4 months in a row of job reports being better than expected. Trump's got 90 countries in line to sign tariff deals with. China's getting ready to sign a huge deal with us. Once that's in place, that's going to really be great for the country. Let's see here. It's below $3 in Colorado. Just drove through there. Did you guys hear that? Folks on the chat. Hey, what's up, Santos? Folks on the chat. Gas in Colorado is below $3 a gallon. That should be blasted from the hilltops, from the canyons, from the mountains. 4 years of Biden-Harris in Southern Nevada, gas prices were near $5 a gallon the entire time. It sucked. Well, he didn't, not Nancy, he did not steal the trophy from the soccer team. They gave it to him. I watched this story in real time. President Trump, by the way, on the 1 year anniversary of him almost becoming unalived in Butler, Pennsylvania, he did not spend that day in quiet reflection. He spent the day, July 13th, 2025, Sunday, at a FIFA soccer match in New Jersey, and the winning team, England, gave him the trophy and said, "Take it back to the White House. We'll come pick it up." And Trump said, "You sure? I mean, it's your trophy." He said, No, please take it to the White House and we'll come pick it up. He said, okay. I mean, Trump didn't carry it himself. His security service or whatever did that. Took it back to the White House. He called the team or the FIFA people the next day and said, "The trophy's here. Come pick it up." They said, "No, we want you to keep it. We'll make another one." He's like, "What do you mean?" He goes, "We can make another trophy, Mr. President. We are honored that you're at our match. We are honored that you celebrated that moment with us. We'd like you to have the trophy." He goes, "Are you sure? I mean, you can come and pick it up. It's not, I didn't even play." He's like, "Nope. We want you to have it." So he didn't steal anything. They gave it to him. That's what really happened. I think, Nancy, you're getting your news from NPR a lot, or CNN. Maybe try listening to the other side once in a while. Just for a goof, Santos, 2028 MAGA. Listen, K Ming 61206. Where K is in the world, which is none of our business, it's $1.98 per gallon. That's like prices when I was a teenager. That's crazy. It's happening, guys. Trump is making America greater again. Join us. If you're a liberal, if you're a Democrat, it's a dead end. That's a dead end. Sorry, but it is. No world news. Boy, Nancy, you're very demanding. You're Canadian, huh? There it is. You're a demanding Canadian. Well, that explains it. Trump is the biggest thief in the world. Sleeper cell. Well, Trump is the biggest thief in the world. I think I think the Biden crime family were bigger thieves. I honestly do. Because Trump's been the president. Trump's been in politics, i.e., meaning having access to taxpayers' money, for 4 years and 6 months. Joe Biden was a senator for 36 years, a vice president for 8, and a president for 4. Who had more access to spending U.S. tax dollars' money, Joe Biden or Donald Trump? Not even close. The Biden crime family are the biggest threat, are the biggest thieves in the world. I just proved it. I just did. Bahan vibe. I just did. Yes, Donna. Trump is the best president we've ever had. I agree. He's by far the best president we've ever had. And he's just getting started. 6 months into a 4-year term. So, again, hashtag walk away. If you're a Democrat, if you're a liberal, and you're dismayed by your party, as you should be, as you're watching, for example, yesterday in California, ICE did a work site raid at a pot farm and found 361 illegal people, a lot of whom had criminal records working there, and 14 minor children being forced to work there. They were freed. They were freed. And the California Democrats' response was, ICE is evil. Shame on them. But the kids, that we don't care. Disliking ICE is more important than the good work they're doing around the country. Freeing 14 kids from forced labor. They didn't care about that. They don't care. So if you're on that side, you're probably where you should be. I like the side that I'm on. America first. Alexa, can you play classic rock? I like the side that I'm on. Lower taxes. I like the side that I'm on. No more giving free money to people that are here illegally. I like reward. I love immigration. I love legal immigration. I love legal immigration. I love people that come to the country through a port of entry, follow the naturalization process, and become U.S. citizens. They stand right beside it. They stand right beside us in the Republican Party and support America first. Some of the loudest voices against illegal immigration are legal immigrants, and they're on our side. They're not on the Democrat side. So you can always join our side. Sleeper cell, billions in secret crypto in his account, so you are easily fooled. Really? I'm easily fooled, huh? And your name is Sleeper Cell. That's not a dead giveaway. Conspiracy theorist. Sleeper cell. Whatever, dude. My answer is whatever, dude. Confucian says, so you don't like Melania and her family. You misspelled Melania, Confucian. Maybe you need to read a book. Work on your spelling. Alexa, can you play classic rock? She's getting mad at me. Let's see. Well, thank you for sharing the live, cats and dogs and goats. By the way, since she mentioned all those animals, today is Worldwide Chimpanzee Day. I'm not making that up. You can please fact check me on that one. But as you know, chimpanzees are our closest relatives in the animal kingdom, and today is their day. So if you know any chimpanzees in your life, buy them a margarita or drink, banana, celebrate. I think there's some chimpanzees on the chat right now. I'm not sure though. No, cats and dogs. The answer is no. But whatever they're being paid legally. You know what I mean? It's all under the table. It's all illegal. But yeah, no. I mean, the word force in forced labor means by definition you're not getting a fair deal, right? If you're being forced to do something, they're not worried about union benefits and stuff. That's why it's so wrong. Not to mention their kids. They're 13, 14. They should be playing soccer. They should be hanging out with their friends. They should be, going to school. They shouldn't be forced to work. But the state of California is like, you can't be everywhere at once, I guess. I don't know. If you're going to be a sanctuary state, if you're going to declare to the world, all are welcome, we'll take care of you, we'll pay for everything, but can you please look after the kids? Can you please make sure there aren't any kids getting lost in the shuffle? Because that inevitably always happens. And the Democrats' response is, well, ICE is bad. They found 14 kids being forced to live horribly and work horribly. And that's bad? Yep, it's bad. No, it's not. Bullet, explain to me how do you know? Bullet, explain to me what that sentence means. To know. I don't know, user. You asked the question. You must know more about it than we do. Why don't you inform us? Why do you think the governor of Florida signed a bill to approve more child labor? What do you think? It's your question. I don't know everything. Thank God for ICE. Thank you, nurse. I agree. But I'm seriously, this user bunch of numbers with a fake profile picture. Why do you think the photo cover did that? Is it regulated child labor or forced child labor, like in California, the pot farm? The kids are being forced to be there and forced to work. That's not the same thing as regulating child labor. Like if you're 18 and over, you make a certain wage. So I don't know what you're talking about. I know what your question is. If you do, let us know. Okay, there you go. That's why you're gonna leave. See you later. User bunch of numbers. Whenever people have the user bunch of numbers and a fake profile picture, I don't take them as seriously as I take people that are willing to at least show, I don't know. I get that you want to be anonymous, but it's also to me a sign of you don't really believe in what you're saying. Hey, Aaron, what's going on? We've been going for a minute, huh? It's probably been going too long. You getting tired, nurse? Yes, cats and dogs. In any other time in history, we would celebrate a law enforcement agency freeing children from, and we are in this one. Cats and dogs and goats. We're on our side. Republicans are celebrating it every day. Democrats aren't celebrating it because Trump did it. You see, you're thinking rationally. You can't think rationally anymore. You've got to think. Anything Trump says or does, anything is bad and wrong. So Trump empowering ICE to do this, following federal law, is bad. Even if the results of what they do is good because Trump authorized it, it's bad. Remember when you were in middle school or like kindergarten? Think like that. That's the other side thinking. Trump's the bad guy always, no matter what. And he's the boss now. He's the president. So pretty much anything in the next 3.5 years that happens, good or bad, on the left, it's always going to be bad because Trump was behind it somehow. Yeah. So if you can do that, if you can think that way, you'll be okay for the next 3.5 years. That's why I just tune them out. I don't want to hear their reaction. I don't want to hear their version of things. I know what they think. By their actions, you will know them. You know what I mean? So their actions speak volumes to me. Yeah, he's not perfect. Cats and dogs, I agree. And by the way, no one's perfect. So he's doing a great job. I'm going to like people. I will go back after this chat and follow you and like you and say cool things and introduce myself. I promise. I'm very good about that. I just try to stay fully present when I'm on the chat, because I've got the nurse moderating for me, and she's very intense. Just kidding. So maybe we can end the chat with this, okay? One of the last things, so before I came on the chat today, I was watching the House Republicans in D.C. give a press conference. Just them. The president wasn't there. It was just 5 or 6, Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House, and 5 or 6 other House Congress people giving a press conference, answering questions, but talking about the anniversary of President Trump's almost unaliving, on Sunday, and about the success of the One Big Beautiful Bill. It was pretty cool. And they mentioned at the press conference today, which I'm sure you can watch on YouTube or C-SPAN or wherever you watch videos, the House GOP has just authored a bill saying that all political violence and rhetoric in the United States needs to stop. And they want to make that into a law. They've got to define what political violence and rhetoric means, but I thought it's at least an olive branch. Like, let's turn the temperature down. You know what I mean? Just think about this, guys. I mean, just for 1 second, dream with me, okay? As of Sunday, as of July 13th, 2024. Just go back 12 months. It's July 13th, 2024. The Democratic president, Joe Biden, and vice president had weaponized the justice system against Donald Trump. The border was wide open. They were letting in millions of people. They were spending $500 million of our tax money on illegal citizens. The war in Ukraine was raging, and with no talk of peace. Iran, for the first time in Israel's history, attacked them directly. Iran usually uses one of its proxies, the Houthis, Hezbollah, Hamas. Iran was like, Joe Biden is so weak, we can just attack Israel directly, and they did. I can keep going on and on, but Trump was in court in New York. They were trying to put him in prison. They were bending the law every which way they could. This is just 12 months ago. And then what happened in Butler happened. That was 4 days before the Republican National Convention. It galvanized the Republican Party like nothing else ever could. And Trump won the election on November 5th decisively. That's a pretty amazing story. And it's true, by the way. But now, and by the way, when that was happening to Trump, so a year ago Sunday, when all that was happening to Trump, do you know what Republicans were not doing? We were not calling the Democrats evil. We were not going after them in the streets. We were not trying to attack federal employees. We weren't doing any of those things. But here we are a year later. Trump's the president. He's 6 months in. He's killing it. He's doing a great job. Foreign policy, domestic policy, peace agreements all over the world. And Democrats are focusing on ICE agents and encouraging people to protest and paying people to protest in cities. Do you really want to be a part of that party? Democrats, if you're on here, if you're a Democrat, is that are you proud? Are you proud of that? Are you proud that you stand with that? And again, yesterday, ICE agents executing federal warrants freed 14 children from being forced to work on a pot farm in California. And the Democrats' response was, so what? Who cares? I think it's incredible what's happened in a year. It's incredible that Trump won, but he won decisively. He didn't just win. He blew Kamala out of the water. He won everything. There was talk going into the election that Kamala might win 2 or 3 swing states, even more. She lost all of them. Every pundit got it wrong. Every pundit that said Trump wouldn't win, every pundit that said Kamala Harris would win, got it completely wrong. And these are the people right now who are telling you stuff that you're supposed to believe. I don't believe them anymore. I stopped listening to the pundits, the Nate Silvers of the world. I stopped listening to folks on the left that everything's doom and gloom. 1 million people are going to lose their health care coverage. It's all nonsense. The left has lost the ability to demand my respect by their actions. The left has lost their ability to ask me to respect them. I don't respect them. So I'm so glad I'm a Republican. I'm so glad that Trump won. I'm so glad that America First is the law of the land. And I'm glad that I'm on here every day talking about that to people that want to listen. I really appreciate your kind attention today. My moderator is Nurse. She's from Texas. She's a great patriot. I can't tell you how much I thank you every day for helping me out doing this, Nurse. I really do. It means a lot to me. And no matter what party you're in, no matter what kind of person you are, I hope you have a blessed day. I'm praying for the folks in Texas. I'm praying for our servicemen and women overseas. And I'm hope that you have a blessed day. And if you like this kind of content, you can like, comment, share, and subscribe. You can message me your email address. I'll add you to our email list that we're building over time. And just keep on trumping. Have a great day. It's Tuesday, and I'll be back tomorrow to talk about news from a conservative perspective. Conservative Coffee Talk. Conservative Coffee Talk. Have a great day, Nurse. You rock. Thank you so much. All right? We'll see you guys tomorrow. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye. Thank you.